Good evening. Tonight's lesson is on understanding equations. The learning objective is I can create an expression or equation to solve real-life mathematical problems. We want to remember that an expression is different than an equation. An equation has an equal sign. Before we start solving real-life math problems, I want to take a moment and let's review two-step equations. The first example that we have is 2x plus 5 equals 17. Now, when we solve these problems, we want to remember to use the inverse operation or the opposite operation. So if we take a look, the first thing we're going to focus on is the plus 5. Now, the opposite or the inverse of plus 5 or adding 5 is subtracting 5. So we are going to subtract 5 from the right. Now, in order to stay equal, we have to be balanced. What we do to one side of the equation, we also have to do to the other side of the equation. So we are going to subtract 5 from the 17 as well. And actually, I'm going to draw a little line so that we know that we are subtracting from the right and subtracting from the left. So positive 5 and negative 5, because they're inverses, they cancel out and they equal 0. We're going to bring down the 2x that is left over. And then on the right side, we are going to do 17 minus 5. And I know that that is 2. Okay. Our next step is going to be the opposite, is to figure out the opposite operation that we have of 2x. Now, as you hopefully remember, 2x is the same as 2 times x, except we don't have to put the multiplication symbol in there. So the opposite operation of 2 times is divided by. So we are going to divide both sides of the equation by 2. 2 divided by 2 is going to give us 1 or 1x. And 12 divided by 2 will give us 6. So the unknown number, the variable, x, is equal to 6. Now, it's important that when we solve a problem, we have to check. We have to check to make sure that we did not make any mistakes. And the way that we check that is off to the side, we're going to rewrite the original problem. And wherever we see the x, we are going to substitute in the value of 6. And when we solve this, both sides of the equation should be the same value. So we have 2 times 6 plus 5 equals 17. Order of operations suggests that we do 2 times 6, which is 12. Bring down the plus 5 equals 17. And 12 plus 5 is 17. 17 equals 17. And therefore, the problem checked, our answer is correct. Let's take a look at example number 2. 4x minus 3 equals 17. I'd like you to pause the video, try it out, and come on back. Hopefully you pause the video. The first thing that we're going to focus on is the subtracting 3 or negative 3. The inverse operation is plus 3. We have to remember that what we do to one side of the equation, we want to do to the other. So we are going to add 3 to the 17 as well. Negative 3 and positive 3 are additive inverses. They will cancel out. We're going to bring down our 4x. On the left, on the right, we have 17 plus 3, which will give us 20. 4x is the same as 4 times x, and the inverse operation of multiplication is division. So we are going to divide both sides by 4. 4 divided by 4 leaves us with 1, or just x, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. So now that we have an answer, we once again have to do our little check. We're going to rewrite and then substitute in wherever we see an x with a 5. Order of operations says 4 times 5 comes first, which is 20. 20 minus 3 is 17. 20 minus 3 is 17 equals 17. Our answer checks and we are correct. The next problem that I want you to take a look at is a word problem. Now, with a word problem, the first thing that we need to do is we need to create an expression or an equation in this case to solve this real-life mathematical problem. Okay, so you and your friend like to play online games. So you purchase a game that costs $20, but you also purchase 3 months of gameplay for a total of $110. Create an equation and solve to find how much money it costs for 1 month of gameplay. So in a word problem, it's important to pick out the important information. The first thing that we have is we have a game that costs $20. So I'm going to actually write down, we have $20 for the game. Then we also purchase 3 months of gameplay. So we have 3 months of gameplay, and we have a total of $110. $110 total. So now we have to create an equation using this information and solve to figure out how much money it costs for 1 month of gameplay. So what we do not know is how much 1 month of gameplay costs. And if we look at that, that is our unknown. So we're going to take a look at our information and figure out which one of these deals with the unknown or the month. Well, if we take a look, we're talking about 3 months and we want to know 1 month. So our variable or unknown is going to go with the 3 months. So now taking a look, total is completely separate. That is the total cost. That is the final answer. We have total cost is $20 plus 3x or 3 months because we do not know how much each month costs. Now that we have an equation, we can go ahead and solve. First thing we're going to look at is we have a positive 20. The inverse of positive 20 is negative 20. So we're going to subtract 20 from each side. Positive 20 and negative 20 cancel out because they are additive inverses. We are left on the right side with 3x. On the left side, 110 minus 20, we have 0 minus 0. 11 minus 2 is 9. We have 90. 90 equals 3x. Now on to our next step in solving this equation. We have to remember 3x is the same as 3 times x, and the inverse of 3 times is divided by 3. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 gets us 1x, and 90 divided by 3 is 30. So now that we have an answer or a value for x, we need to go ahead and check. Oh, I'm running out of room, guys. We rewrite the original problem and then replace the x with the value of 30. 20 plus 3 times 30. Order of operations states that we have to do the multiplication first. 3 times 30 is 90. 20 plus 90 is 110. We checked. Now, the last thing that's important to remember about word problems is that the question started out in words, so therefore we have to end our answer in words. So we could simply just say 1 month of gameplay costs $30. Or you could write any kind of variation of that. As long as you identify what the $30 is, make sure that you label that it is 30 is dollars and that $30 is the cost of one game. Okay, go ahead and flip over. The last problem, we're running out of room. Let me zoom out a little bit. All right, so example number 4. Your brother is going to college, so you no longer have to share a bedroom. Yay! You decide to redecorate a wall by hanging 2 new posters on the wall. The wall is 14 feet wide, and each poster is 4 feet wide. You want to place the posters on the wall so that the distance from the edge of each poster to the nearest edge of the wall is the same as the distance between the posters, as shown in the diagram below. Determine that distance between the posters. Okay, so thankfully we have a diagram that we were given, and there's important information that we need to know that we can collect from the diagram. The first thing that we can collect is we have 4 feet. 14 feet. 14 feet is the total length. So 14 feet total wall space. Okay. The next thing that we see in our diagram is that we have these fantastic posters, aren't they great? We have two posters that are 4 feet each. So we have two posters, 4 feet each. Okay. And then we have these three spaces, and those three spaces represent the unknown distance between the two posters. And anytime we have an unknown measurement or unknown number, we're going to call those X, or we can use any other variable we would like. So we have 1, 2, 3. We have 3 spaces. Let's see, spaces between. Okay, and because we don't know what the value of those 3 spaces are, we're going to call it 3x. Okay, now taking a look, we see 14 feet total. That is going to be on one side of the equation, or one side of the equal sign. This time I'm going to put it on the right. And on the left, I have 3 x's, or 3 spaces, plus 2 posters at 4 feet each. Well, I can take a look, and I know that 4 feet plus 4 feet is 8 feet. So I have an additional 8 feet. Okay, so now that we have our equation, we are going to solve for our unknown. First thing we need to look at is plus 8. The inverse of positive 8, or plus 8, is negative 8. We're going to go ahead and subtract 8 from both sides of the equation. Positive 8, negative 8 cancel out because they are additive inverses. We bring down our 3x. On the left, on the right, we have 14 minus 8, and 14 minus 8 will give us 6. The next thing we have to take a look at is we have 3x, or 3 times x, and the inverse operation of 3 times is divided by 3. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 will cancel out, or it actually is 3 over 3 is the same as 1. So we have 1x equals 6 divided by 3, which is 2. Now we need to make sure that we check our work to make sure that our answer is correct. I'm going to rewrite the original problem. We have 3x plus 8 equals 14. Okay, we are going to replace the x with a 2. So we have 3 times 2 plus 8 equals 14. 6 plus 8 equals 14. 14 equals 14. And we check. Okay. Last but not least, we have to rewrite, or we have to restate what the answer is to our problem. We started out with words. We need to end with words. The distance between posters is 2, and we need to make sure that we use the proper units. We are talking about feet, so 2 feet. Okay. One other thing that I want to discuss with you, or I want to let you guys know, is in case you're not sure how to simplify right off the bat, what you can do is you can take a look. Actually, let me grab another pen so you guys can see what I'm talking about. If we look, we have x plus 4 plus x plus 4 plus x, and that whole thing is 14. Okay, so when we combine like terms, you'll notice we have 3 x's, and 4 plus 4, will get us plus 8. So that is where the 3x plus 8 is coming from. Okay, it's just this extra step to simplify. All right, guys, I hope you have a good night, and I will see you tomorrow.